Parents alleging the wrongful disposal of baby ashes in Aberdeen are taking legal action against the City Council at the Court of Session. BBC Scotland revealed last year that no ashes had been offered to the families of infants cremated at Hazelhead Crematorium over a 5-year period. I've been speaking to Patrick McGuire of Thompsons Solicitors, who are representing some of the parents.
It comes down to this: the families that I represent in the North East in Aberdeen are looking for exactly the same as all of the other families up and down the length and breadth of Scotland in relation to this particular tragedy that's affected all of Scotland. The only difference is the attitude of Aberdeen City Council, and it comes down to this: the families across the country are looking for 3 things in a particular order. Firstly, and most importantly, they want answers. They want to know what happened. Secondly, they need to ensure that all the lessons have been learned that can be learned. And those 2 things will come from the public inquiry that they've no doubt, and I've no doubt, the political leaders will deliver to us. The third thing, and is perfectly reasonable, they are all also looking for just recompense for what they have been put through. That, however, is very much at the end of the line. That's so far down their list of priorities. But in contrast to every other local authority across the country, Aberdeen City Council's hard-nosed attitude has bounced these families into a position where they have been forced at this stage to proceed with court actions.
Well, what's the contrast between what Aberdeen is doing and what other councils have done?
The law contains certain provisions about time bar that says that certain things must be done in certain time frames. Every other local authority in Scotland has taken a reasonable, mature, compassionate, understanding approach to matters. They've looked at the rules of time bar and they've come to an agreement that these cases can be put aside until the important issues are handled. That is, Eilish Angelini's report is concluded, Lord Bonamy's report is concluded, and the Scottish Government make a decision upon the public inquiry. They've agreed that's the mature thing to do. Aberdeen stand in stark contrast to that. They will not negotiate, they will not consider. They have bounced the families into a position where they've had no choice but to raise court actions. Court actions which, I have to say, have been raised for one reason and one reason only. For procedural purposes, they're now on hold, they're not progressing forward, but what it has done is it's put the families in a position where they've had a weekend of hell. They've had, frankly, misery added to anguish, and that's down to one thing and one thing only: the unacceptable attitude of Aberdeen City Council.
Well, Aberdeen City Council wouldn't talk to us, but in a statement they did say that because this was before the courts, they couldn't really comment on it. But what are they saying to you about why they've not done what every other council has done and waived that business of the time bar?
Well, isn't it convenient for them to say they're not going to talk about this? Because that's the question I've been asking for the last 6 months, because that's how long we've been asking them to grant this time bar waiver, as it's called. They've ignored us, they've not answered, and they've not been prepared to discuss it at all, standing, as I've said, in stark contrast to the attitude of every other local authority.
So what's the case then? I appreciate what you say about actually being down the road quite a long way, but what's the case actually about? Is it about getting money for the distress that the parents have suffered because no ashes were returned to parents, as I understand it, for what, 5 years, in a period of 5 years in Aberdeen?
The legal cases for just recompense proceed on the basis of the relevant cremation legislation that was in place at the time, which was clearly breached, and on account of which the families are entitled to just recompense under the law and under the human rights legislation. And it is, as you said, to recognise the pain, the anguish, the suffering and the misery that they've been put through.
That's Patrick McGuire of Thompsons Solicitors.